and good evening, and welcome to The
The
Truth
truth
Behind the Truth. Yes, indeed. Good evening, everyone.
Yes.
We are so grateful and happy that you took the time out to be with us tonight. It is going to be a great show, okay? A show of challenging you to see where your thought patterns are in this particular day and age. Tonight, it's going to be called Myths or Miracles, Faith or Foolishness, okay? And the reason why it's titled that way real quick is that because we wanted to challenge your thought pattern. It's not a religious show, guys, okay? But it is a spiritual show, okay? So that you can get in touch with your spirituality to see where you are with that and your things. But we wanted to highlight around miracles because that is a very directional point of our lives in general, okay? Every day is a miracle for you. When you wake up, it's a miracle. Okay, miraculous miracles happen beyond that, which you'll hear some great stories tonight from a few of our guests that will be on later on the show to talk about that as well. So get ready. Maybe you need to get a little bit handkerchief or Kleenex because you might feel some tears tonight. All right, but we thank you for taking the time out to be with us. Also, want to remind you to like, share, and support us. Okay, we got two specific spots for you to do. Our Cash App is TTBTT show on Cash App, and our Venmo is The Truth Behind the Truth. Yeah. So send that cash. Okay, tonight we're gonna take an offering. Definitely. And also for the special guests that we have my pastor. Okay, Dylan's pastor. I think the pastor of our show, Bishop Jim Swilley, will be with us tonight, sharing his thoughts and his great wonderful ideas. One of the greatest teaching pastor ministers on the planet, guys. You really got to be so inspired by him tonight as well. So he'll be joining us in a few minutes to talk about all this wonderful stuff. All right. So starting out with our wonderful panel for tonight, I have my dear and lovely and beautiful cousin. Okay, she is not a first timer. She's not a second timer. She's not a third timer. But she is part of this family. All right. Want to welcome my cousin Twana. Oh, Scott, back to the show.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Special guest host. Always. That's my big sister, y'all. You know, that's my big sister. All right. Thank you, honey, for being here tonight.
Thank you.
You're really appreciate it. So, how are you?
I'm actually doing quite well. There's a number of exciting things going on in my life, and I'm walking this thing out like on the dance floor. Walk it out. Walk it out.
Yes. Love it. Yes. Great. I'm glad you're here. I really am. It's touched my heart. Good. Darnell, how are you, babe?
I'm doing great, my friend. Thank you. Just had rehearsal today for a reading of a new musical that's coming up next week.
Yes.
Running and going. It gets harder the older you get.
Yeah.
All this ripping and running.
So can you share what the musical is going to be about?
The title is My Government Wants to Kill Me. And
that's appropriate.
Yeah. And it's basically it's set back in the 80s, you know, as a lot of the LGBTQ community was coming politicized and you know, coming around, you know, HIV and AIDS and all that good stuff. It's really a nice little something. I know I can't talk about it too much because I got to keep it under wraps. It's that kind of thing. But that's all I can say. Shh.
Keep it there. So where is it going to be here in LA? What theater?
I can't tell you.
Another secret. Okay, I got you. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that because you know every time you're cast with somebody, that always does our hearts very well. You know,
thank you.
Especially being a part of what we have going on here. It's nice to have a celebrity to come home to, which is great. How are you, honey?
I'm good. I'm great. I am absolutely great. You know what's so funny? You mentioned Darnell, how hard it is now that you're doing theater at your age, but you know I call it a miracle. Now that we're talking about the topics of miracles, you know, I was thinking about your mom, cousin Twana, when the last time we talked to her when we went to the hospice, and she was remembering she was reminding us of the written word of her plays or of the scripture. And I thought about what you were saying, Darnell, and you know, as the miracle of acting is when you get up in age and you come down to any type of form of Alzheimer's or something like that, or Alzheimer's, you don't. You have that muscle memory because you have used it so much to remember lines or musical lyrics. That muscle memory is still there. For most actors who get up in age, and we can count on, the legends, Betty Davis, your mama, come to one. Those people, they never forgot the memory. I was even thinking about Louise Reiner, the actress of The Great Earth, who died at 103 years old. She remembered everything about her life because for many, many years as an actress, she remembered lines and she had great memorization skills. So, even though I feel like it's getting you getting up in age and it's getting harder, but the muscle in your brain is building still. And I think that's a wonderful gift to still have, to remember to have that type of memory muscle. But to not get too much into this, into that, but we're gonna pay homage to DJ Casper. Okay. He had passed, and he was the one that started the cha-cha slide, and and if those who go to weddings or any type of celebration who do the cha-cha slide, he was the originality, he was the original person who did the music and everything and produced it. So I give my hat to DJ Casper for giving us that type of cultural foundation within the Black community.
Yeah, I used it a lot. I used it a lot in my aerobics class. It was funny back in the day when it came out. It was a great thing, and to see different people of ethnic backgrounds getting in the mode of learning that, because they used to love to do that. They say, "Are you going to do that same dance thing?"
Last time, one time.
Exactly. But I used it a lot in my aerobic classes back in the day.
The new electric slide for the new generation.
I guess you want to call it that.
A group dance, and the thing about it, if you ever go out and that was playing, and say you were by yourself or you didn't have a date with you, at one time it was a little bit uncomfortable, but with the group dancing, it's you can get out there and do the slide and do the drop or whatever it is.
Right.
It made people feel much more comfortable dancing and being out by themselves without a date.
True, that's so true. Did you? What was that other one that they did? And we're gonna move on. What's the wobble?
Wobble. Hey.
I love that one too.
Cubic shuffle.
Now that one I couldn't do because my foot kept getting all caught up in cubic.
Yeah.
I was a little too fast for my feet, but such good. Let
me ask y'all another question. Do y'all have a Whitney Houston moment? Because y'all know her birthday was August the 9th.
Yes.
Y'all have a favorite Whitney Houston moment? Random Whitney Houston moment? Performance?
Performance? Or song?
Song? Anything? A moment?
Well, for me, I think it was the first time hearing "I Will Always Love You," and I was at the gym working out, and all of a sudden it was really quiet. We just heard this voice singing, because usually the gym's got some some kind of hype music, and then all of a sudden we just hear this person singing. You can hear everybody kind of go like, "What's going on?" And people just kind of like stopped to listen, and like, "What song is this?" And then the music comes in. It was like, "Oh, it's Whitney." And it's the most interesting thing where no matter what's going on, people just stopped to listen to the voice.
Right. Well, I think her version, not Cassie's not a Dolly Parton, originally, but Whitney took it to another level.
Oh, Dolly will tell you that.
Oh yeah, Dolly. I can't do what you did. But she did. She really took it to another level. And the sad moment about that, I think, for me, loving the song was when at her funeral. And then when they timed it so well that when they lifted her casket up during that point, when the high note that she comes back on, it was that was very gripping, during her funeral. But anyway, go ahead, Twana. I mean to cut you off in the midst of your
I was listening to you. She has that once in a lifetime voice that you hear, and it makes your heart just stop. And even if you're not in a relationship with the creator at that particular moment, you're looking up or tears are dropping, or it gets you right in your heart. She was able to capture the heart of mankind, as she sang.
She was.
Star Spangled Banner was my moment. But
Was
let's get into this Montgomery brawl though.
Oh my
Now
God.
that's something that we need to. Now that was a moment. I know that was a moment for everybody, and including those who are probably watching this show right now. Now that Montgomery brawl, I tell you, that happened on the day of my grandma's funeral. God rest her soul. She transitioned some weekends before, but that we had her funeral on that day. And sure enough, that situation happened because entitlement and liquor happened.
Right.
And plus, on top of that, there was a situation where a security guard who was securing the pier told the people who had the boat to move their boat.
Right.
And entitlement got in the way, and they didn't do it. So there were people off the riverboat who got off the riverboat and jumped. Well, actually, it started. I'm so sorry. Let me take that back. They jumped the security guard first. Those who were supposed to move their boat jumped the security guard. And what happened was there was a brawl that ensued after that fact.
Right.
Let me get those facts straight.
Right.
And sure enough, because that had happened, the people off the riverboat, including some of the workers, got off and defended the security guard who was jumped by this mob of people.
Right.
When you saw this, I'm going to ask y'all this question. When y'all saw this moment, what was running through your mind, Parnell?
First, I'm saying he wasn't the security guard. He's the co-captain of that ship.
He was.
Yeah, he's the co-captain.
Oh, my bad. Okay, got you. Thank you for correcting me on that.
He's not security.
Thank you for correcting me, Parnell.
Yeah. And it's the arrogance of those folks. Is like they had kept those. There were 227 people on that riverboat waiting to dock so they could get off and go about their lives. They kept them people waiting for 45 minutes. They were trapped, sitting there just like, there's the dock right there, but we can't park because y'all won't move your boat. Right. And so all that frustration of one, that whole thing of them waiting for them to get out there. Two, seeing them jump on the co-captain, and three, when they finally got to, I think whoever that happened, there's like, oh no, we can't leave him out here. And they parked a little further up on the dock. And then by that time, everybody's like, oh no, we whooping some ass today. Because y'all know what's not going to happen is y'all doing this while we're right here for it.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. So, as they fucked around and found out.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. It's
sales of folding chairs have gone up twice.
You can't. I can't.
Well, I just want to say that it's always important to be ready. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I keep it right by my back door.
Okay. I know, right?
You don't start one, don't start another one being because all they had to do was move their boat.
But in all sincerity, for me, it was there was that part of me, the fleshy, earthly part of me that found it absolutely funny and like, okay, it's about time y'all recognized.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit part of me was in prayer that nobody was hurt. And Lord, what do people need to learn from this? Because this was a moment in time that will be historical. And I'm glad to say I was alive to see it. Yes. Yet it was saying to me, how do I show up as God's child in the midst of violence?
Right. Okay.
And I go to the scriptures that talk about, there's a time for everything. For everything, there is a season. And there was a season when us would have been hanging from trees for what went down there. But then this season, we didn't go there. And we are in a place where we can comfortably fight back and have people come and surround us, and not just our own kind. There were Asian people, white people, Latino people saying, what's wrong with them? Why didn't they see that? So it was a coming together. But I think it's also a time for us to just stop. I'm sorry. I'm hearing myself talking. My daughter always tells me, Mommy, you're getting older and you're loud. You can't.
Oh, no. You're fine. You're fine.
I hear her in my head. It's like, Twana, are you talking loud? But bottom line, I think that it escorted us into a period where we need to look at society. We need to look at our community and look at ourselves individually and say, how do I show up in this particular moment? And it put on full display white privilege and the fact that there are people specifically of the Caucasian race that they don't even realize it, that they have this mindset of, oh, I'm white and you're black or you're brown and I can do what I want to do and it won't be any consequences. Well, that day it was some consequences.
Yeah. Right.
Truth
well,
behind
amen.
the truth.
Truth behind the truth.
Yes,
you know that. Well, we got to get ready for. Thank you for that point. Very, very powerful. We got to get ready for a quick break, but we're gonna bring back my pastor, which is my white chocolate pastor. We love him dearly. No, we really love him. He has shaped me and Dylan in terms of spirituality. He's been shaping my spirituality for 24 years. Okay. So, I mean, it is really, really good to have him on the show. Every time I call upon him, he is willing to be here and share his light on what the kingdom is speaking to this generation in life. All right. But we'll be right back with Bishop Jim Swilley right after this break.
Call 844-55-STARZ. It's Junk Stars, baby.
Hey, my name is Thurston, and here I have my CEO, son Langston. We specialize in junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition. So if you need junk removed,
call Junk Stars.
You need dumpster rentals,
call Junk Stars.
All right, and we are back, guys. Again, thank you so much for tuning into the Truth Behind the Truth tonight with the chair. We're gonna call it the chair of truth. Okay,
there you go.
This chair will bring out the truth in you.
Yes,
indeed. I want to thank you so much for following us, and make sure that you go to our social media sites and like, share all of those. Oh wow. Okay, you know what? I can't. These memes are just been. People have come up with some funny stuff. All right,
Marvin Gaye moment right there.
I know, right?
Moment. But goodness gracious! Oh my God!
Wow.
Yes.
But anyways, definitely go to our social media sites and like, and share. Want to remind you to support our Cash App TTBTT show and our own Venmo as The Truth Behind the Truth. For Venmo, we'll take anything that folds. The jingling part, it can go to anyway, so we couldn't take it. So, but anyway, all kind of credit cards, debit cards, whatever. Just deposit. All right. But anyway, we're gonna get ready to get into tonight's show. I mean, as I said at the top, tonight is I'm sorry, getting tongue tied in my own words. Myths or miracles, or foolishness, or faith. All right. So find yourself in the basic of those topics. Find out where you fit in, and we got some answers for you. All right. But without further ado, hey, I'm bringing my pastor. As I said at the top of the before we went to break, he has been a significant part in my life and Dylan's life for the past 11, but mine for the past 24. Reshape, guys. He will tell you about his definitely his websites and I've read his books that will again inspire you. He is one of Atlanta's top, and when it comes to ministers and all over the world. You can catch him every Sunday at Metron if you're in Atlanta, or on his particular website as well. But I'll let him share a little bit more about that at some point throughout our discussion tonight. But welcome back to the show, our pastor of this show, Bishop Jim Swilley.
Hey! Greetings. Hello.
Yes. Good evening.
Congratulations on your third season. It's quite an impressive accomplishment.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me back.
Yes, thank you so much. We were rolling to the fourth. So, thank you for that. Really appreciate that.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Yeah, you're great.
Okay. Good.
Yes, definitely. I see you have a good audience of the city in the background.
Yeah, I'm in my living room. That's A-Town. I was born a couple of blocks from here.
That's right. You're not a Grady baby, are you?
No, Crawford Long.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So how you been? What's going on? How's life?
It's all good. It's all good. I have to say, first of all, I've never done a podcast where there was a Louise Reiner reference.
Okay.
I'm impressed with that, Dylan. Actually, she lived to be 105, and she won the Academy Award 2 times. She's the first time multiple winner. She won it 2 years in a row.
Back to back.
And my Whitney Houston moment, I like everything she did, and I loved the Star Spangled Banner thing. But just this week, I was listening to "I Love the Lord" on the Preacher's Wife soundtrack,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that one just knocks me out. She just,
Yes.
hearing her do a gospel song like that was incredible. As far as the brawl thing, I'd like to apologize from my 4 cousins that were involved with that. And I mean, it's an embarrassment to the family. What can I tell you? You know what I was impressed with? First of all, I want to say, I was talking to somebody very close to me this week who said, they said, I don't know why they're making this a race thing. Race had nothing to do with it. I said, let me ask you this, because a white person said this. I said, if you saw a white guy attacked by a large group of people of color, what would you think? He said, I would think it was racial. I said, exactly. And it was. But you know what? What really got me was the guy that jumped in the water and swam to the dock. I was like, this is like an action movie. Anyway, but yeah, it is. First, when I looked at it, I thought, there's white privilege again. Okay. So anyway, is what it is. But the accessibility of cameras now has totally changed the dynamic because you just can't get away with stuff. If it hadn't been for somebody, videoing the George Floyd thing, we wouldn't have even known about it. It would have just been it's unfortunate that that's the world we live in, but sometimes things have to get worse before they get better. Yes. And when the more and more people know that they're accountable and hopefully little by little things get better. But anyway, I heard y'all say all that stuff, and I was just trying to feel involved.
Not a problem at all. Not a problem. So digging in tonight, I know that I kind of give you a heads up on where we're kind of focusing in tonight.
Okay.
And the one of the great things is that, and following it, I didn't realize at the time that I was coming up with this, that you were in a series, at
just
Metron.
Finished it,
just finished a series at Metron. So I said, well, you know what, Spirit is lining up with Spirit, to be able to talk about that. Yeah, exactly. And what I felt inspired by it is that because we have a generation that typically is like all over the place, pretty much. In a lot of aspects. So I figured that if we talk about those areas of miracle, because you say miracle in the majority of people, they kind of look at you strange. They do like a dog looking at you like, what? What's that? And so I want to maybe start with that a little bit and where you see miracles right now happening, and then the miracles that you and I are so used to through what we've experienced through our lives in Christianity, as well. So maybe we can talk about that a little bit first.
The series I just finished up, I was using, there's a scripture in 2 Corinthians where Paul talks about this thing that happened to him 14 years prior. And he makes this statement. He says, this thing happened to me. He said, whether in the body or out of the body, I don't know. He said, I don't know if I actually went to this third heaven or if I was in the body. And my point of using that scripture is he had reached a place in his life where, in his journey, where the natural world and the spiritual world had so eclipsed one another that it was irrelevant to him whether it was a physical manifestation or not. And I think that's very interesting. He said, this miraculous thing happened to me, and I don't even know how to define it. I'm not even going to try to define it. I just know that it happened. Einstein said, there's 2 ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. Mm-hmm. And my point in teaching this is the conventional wisdom used to be, I need a miracle because I'm in trouble, or I need help, or I need physical healing. And, come on, God, whatever, universe, higher power, he, she, it, I don't care, whatever your vernacular is. But the idea is, God, don't you see I'm in trouble? I need a miracle. And I am prone now to believe that's not what manifests miracles. Miracles are manifested when you notice how they're already happening all around you. You don't get a miracle because you need a miracle. You get a miracle because the miraculous is your lifestyle. You're producing miracles all the time. And it's nearly like, I kind of see it as like a gland that needs to be stimulated, if you will. It's like the more you, for lack of better terms, secrete that thing, the more you, the more you have, the more. Jesus said, to them that have more will be given. And like there's a case in the book of Acts where it says that God spoke with an audible voice, and several people heard it, and several people thought it was God. Other people said it was just thunder. And I think that's very interesting because perception is reality. And there are so many things that happen to me pretty much on a daily basis that I put in the miracle column. I just think, okay, that's a miracle. I'm going to call that a miracle. If I told a skeptical person about it, they could probably explain that away. They could probably say, I don't know if that was a miracle. That was just, a thing that happened. And that's fine. I don't care if you don't see it, but I do believe if you don't see miracles, you're not going to see miracles. The only way to see them is to see them. And the more you see them, the more you have them. The more you recognize with gratitude. Like, for instance, something as simple as this past weekend, we did our 19th meditation weekend. I do these, about 3 or 4 of them a year. And we did it at a place where we'd never done one before, and I wasn't familiar with the area. And I never know where we're going to meet. We're always out, even in the summertime, we're always out on the beach, and we do a sunset meditation, a sunrise meditation. And it just happened, this was our 19th one. And it coincided with Metron's 9th anniversary. So I thought, okay, that's cool, synchronistic. I didn't plan it that way, but if that's not a miracle, I'm going to say it's miracle adjacent. It's miracle-ish. And so Ken and I went down a night before, and we're scouting out the area, and we were at Tybee Island outside of Savannah, and there are streets that have beach access on them. And so I was looking for a place, and I found one it was at the 18th Street, and it was all right. It was like, okay, this might work. We might can meet here. But then I said, man, if there's a 19th one, that's going to so be my place. And we drove up, found it. It was perfect. It's what I would have. It's the kind of place I would have gotten for us to meet anyway. Yeah, pardon me. I had I know your shoulder surgery, right? 4 weeks ago, yesterday. So I have 2 more weeks in this. But anyway, when I saw it, I thought, okay, that's just a really cool little green light from the universe that I'm in the zone. I know how to hear the miraculous. And the more you recognize it, the more you manifest gratitude. The every day when you wake up, it's another miracle that's happened. The more you notice the little ones, it's like you exercise that muscle. And what should be happening to all of us is, instead of being surprised when a miracle manifests, we ought to be surprised when it doesn't. And when we see something like, I don't know how this thing's going to work out, but I'm starting a series tomorrow called Manifest Your Best. Stop believing everything you think and learn to trust the process. And I've really noticed that these law of attraction guys, when they talk about intention, they also talk about detachment. And they'll say that, when you have an intention, you put it out there, and then you don't try to micromanage it. You don't try to overdo and try to make it work out. And I think there's such a truth to that, to see a situation in your life and to say, this is what I want to happen. I'm going to be very clear in my intention. I believe that my words have power. I believe that I can manifest. But once I put it out there, I'm going to commit it to the unified quantum field and just allow for the miraculous to take place. Because if I say this is what I want and then I try to work it out with natural reasoning, I'm going to muddy the waters. I'm going to scramble the clarity of my signal that I'm sending out. And it's kind of like when you plant a seed, you don't keep pulling it up and looking at it. You've got to commit it to the soil and be done with it. And so the more you get acclimated
I'm gonna jump in.
What's that?
I'm going to jump in real quick because
Yeah.
I want to let them have a quick couple questions before we bring everybody for the next segment. Okay, Parnell, go ahead. Okay. You got yourself muted. That was your question.
I was like,
yeah, there you go.
There we go. I was just listening to it. So, Twana, if you got something to do, y'all are good.
Okay. I want to make sure you guys are
Can you give us, for those that are listening, for the listening audience outside of those that are here in the studio, can you give us some tangible things that have happened or manifested in your life that others would look and say, oh, that's a miracle, or maybe they wouldn't say it, but you know, because of your life, it is a miracle, or it was a miracle?
It was in my memories today. This happened 4 years ago today. Some friends of mine, we went up to North Carolina to go tubing on a whitewater river. And the inner tubes had a bottom in them, so you're kind of floating in them like a little boat. I took I put my phone, my Apple Watch, my wallet, and my glasses, pretty much everything but my car keys. I put them in a Ziploc bag. I was tucked them behind me, and we were going to go rafting. Once I put the thing back, I thought, oh, I need my glasses because they turn into sunglasses. So I reached back to open the bag. And when I did, I didn't notice that I had already floated toward where the whitewater was. And it flipped me over. I lost everything out of I went underneath. And when I came up, my friends were like, oh my God, are you okay? And I mean, the water was so loud, we're having to scream at each other. And I said, I lost all my stuff. And the day before, I had done a teaching. I'd led everybody in meditation. I'd done a teaching on breath work. And I said, just try this when you're inhaling and exhaling. To me, the inhale is, I'm going to believe for the best. The exhale is, I'm going to be okay no matter what happens. It's like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego saying, we believe God's going to deliver us from this fiery furnace, but if it doesn't, we're going to be okay. So I just taught on this. And there was no way we could dive under the water. It was crazy. I mean, there's no way. It was just crazy. So I got out of the river and walked downstream, and I just started expressing gratitude. I just said, I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to get all my stuff back. I'm going to get it back. I had a check in there that somebody had written me. I folded up in my wallet that I needed. I had important phone numbers from my mom that were folded up in there. So the guys came on down and they said, are you okay? I said, yeah, it's okay. This is a beautiful day. I'm just being grateful that we're here. And I went and talked to the park ranger, and I told her I lost everything. She said, well, you're never going to find it. She said, when stuff goes under this water, it just disintegrates. I said, okay. So I said, well, I've got to start the process. I'm going to get back to Atlanta. I've got to get a driver's license and cancel credit cards and start this whole process. So we were in North Carolina, but my friend's cabin was in North Georgia. So we got in the car, we're driving back. I said, I'm just going to say this one time. I don't know how this is going to happen, but before midnight tonight, I'm going to have all my stuff and everything's going to be working. My phone's going to be working. My watch is going to be working. I'm going to have everything that's in that wallet. And I know this doesn't make sense because we're leaving here. Like, how in the world could that possibly happen? But I just need to say this out loud. And if I'm going to be okay no matter what, this isn't the end of the world, but I'm going to have all my stuff. So we drive. It's about a 2-hour drive back to the cabin where we were. We get there and I hear Ken on the phone, and he said, I'm in the bathroom, and he says, hey, they found your stuff. I said, what? Wow. What are you talking about?
Wow.
A scuba diver from Savannah woke up that morning, and he said, I've never done this before, but I just thought I'm going to drive to North Carolina and I'm going to scuba in Deep Creek. That's what it's called. So he drives all the way up there. he didn't even know what Siri was. He found all my stuff was still in a bag, and when he poured the water out, it had been under the water about 3 hours. The way I have Siri set up is you have to say, "Hey Siri," and
Right.
But he poured the water out, and my phone said, "Here's something you can say: call mom." So he goes, "Call mom." Well, my mom answers, and he says, "I don't know who." He said, "I found your son's stuff," and she's like, "What?" So she thinks there's been an accident, because I found your son's stuff on the bottom of the river.
Let's hold that exciting moment when we come right back from the break.
Right.
We're going to come back right back with the rest of our guests this evening, okay? Getting into their personal testimonies about what's going on. We're going to hear what Bishop has to say to them about the things that they've experienced as well. All right? So we'll be right back with our next panel host, Darnell Thomas, and our own engineer, Charles McIntosh. We'll be right back after this, guys.
Or maybe we won't go on a break.
Okay.
All right, Charles.
You got some technical difficulty going on there. We'll talk till he gets together. All right. Well, anyway, go ahead with your story.
I'm nearly to the so I called this guy and I said, "Can you stay there? I'm coming right back." We drove all the way back, and he said, "I was under the water," and he said, "Behind this boulder, I saw a little flap of plastic going like that," and I picked it up. My watch still worked. The ink on the check did not run. Everything was in there. My phone was still running.
Wow.
And we got back to Atlanta that night. As we drove into the parking deck here, it was 10 till 12. And I said, "I just want to say, I said I was going to have all my stuff before midnight tonight and everything's to be working. It's 10 minutes to 12. I have everything." And
wow.
I didn't pray about it. I just called it back. I just said, "That's my stuff. I call it back." And anyway, that was all.
I love that. That is just so beautiful. As we go to break, again, that's again. I do want us to be in a little quick meditation for Bishop Pearson. He was actually going to try to be a part of the show as well, but with his illness that he's going through right now, I'm sure you know about it as well. But we want to pay homage to him real fast as we bring everybody back up from the break to further talk about their healing, what they have. So we're going to send healing vibes to Bishop Pearson and just listen to his words real quick before we go on the break. Okay, so we're gonna, if he's ready, we can.
Hello, everybody. Carlton Pearson, your fellow sojourner in truth and of truth and about truth and expanded consciousness and radical inclusion and growth, expansion, imagination, creation, co-creation, procreation, recreation. Thanks for being my friend. I mean that at a level that I never have said it to you before. During this period, the last several weeks that I've been experiencing this special treatment, you showed a side of you. Just in your, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments. I read as many as I can, and I'll continue to. They're just so heartwarming, and you make me value my life more and my participation in life with you, and that we're engaging together continually. Madge has been posting some things to make you aware of a lot of this, and we'll continue to do that. Next Tuesday, Dr. Michael Beckwith will be my guest, and others will come on from time to time.
All right, and we are back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the Truth Behind the Truth tonight. All things faith. All right, all things faith. Love it. Thank you, Bishop, for sharing wonderful testimony about what the line sight or keeping that miracle in your sight. You know what I'm saying? And living up to what you placed before you. That's just so beautiful. We're going to do a shift a little bit. We're going to go and talk about adding faith into this a little bit more. So, and to kind of shape our conversation around that with our guests that are be coming on as well. I do want to say, again, as we did, sending a special, vibrations out to Bishop Pearson. I know he's going to come through it. He's been through it. I know he's a dear friend of yours, Bishop, as well, for a long time, and stuff. So he is such a catalyst. Between these two men, I'm telling you, it's like they have been my Paul in both ears. I mean, true, really love. Really love both of them so much. But anyway, let's go ahead and dig in. So we're going to bring to our the rest of our guests this evening and hear from them. So we got our one of our dear brothers, Darnell Thomas, who will be with us coming on. And then we have our own engineer, Charles McIntosh, as well, will be joining us just a second as he pulls himself up. Yeah. But anyway, so we're going to dig in, and Bishop, we want you to and Twana's going to share her stories as well. Guys, if you could take about 3 minutes just to kind of share your story in general synopsis about what you have found in the miracle of healing, and I think the majority of you guys have experienced that. So let's share it. And Bishop, you can jump in at any point if you like. What's the story, or kind of wait till the end. It's up to you. Okay, on that end. All right, go. Darnell, you want to go first? Oh, you got yourself muted. That muting thing.
I was saying, Charles, I'll let you go first since you're the engineer.
Go ahead, Charles. Let's see. There you go.
Well, this is one of those stories that a lot of Black men go through. When we feeling bad, we feel like we don't need a doctor, it'll pass. Well, after losing my job, being stressed out, house about to be foreclosed on, I had kids, wife, didn't know what I was going to do, but I kept having this pain in my chest. I saw the doctor, and she said, "You're having an irregular heartbeat, so you need to see a specialist." That was on Wednesday. On Friday, I saw the specialist. He said, "You have what the athletes, Lynn Bias and Reggie Williams had. You have a cardiomyopathy, and your heart's doubling up. If it ever triples up and you're not laying in front of me, there's no survival." I said, "Well, let's get it done." He goes, "We can't do that till Monday." So I had to go the whole weekend, not breathing, wondering if I should breathe harder or if I'm eating the right stuff, drinking plenty of water. So Monday I go in to have my procedure done. And he said, "Count back from 99. I said, 98. And next day I remember they rolling me through the hallway and my wife was screaming, "They zapped you, they zapped you." Oh, wow. My heart stopped right there on that table.
Wow.
I died. For 2 minutes, I was dead. No white lights, no nothing. It was over with. So when I finally woke up 2 days later, I looked in the mirror, had the burn marks on my chest. And for some reason, that song from Michael Jackson was just ringing in my head as I looked in the mirror. I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And that's how I got back into television and doing film, because I felt like life could end at any moment. I need to do what I always dreamed of. And that's how I got here.
Yes. Beautiful.
Darnell?
Well, mine was
I know yours is beautiful, but yeah. His story is so wonderful, but try to keep it to 3 minutes if you can.
The short of it all is just like Charles, I was working. When I tell you I was working single parent out here. I was killing myself trying to make sure that everything was done, not paying attention to the factor of my body, paying attention to me. I'm thinking that it was just tired. I had a long history of having ulcers in my stomach. And of course, ulcers come from worrying. So I'm thinking that, it's just an ulcer. I'll go to the doctor. I know what they're going to do. Let me just take some type of Pepsade or something like that, Pepsi, and I'll be okay until I can make it to the doctor. So I got to work that day, and I remember I was standing there getting ready for a meeting, and all I know is I started having the worst hurting in my stomach in the world, to the point where it got to hurt so bad till it knocked me to the floor. So when it knocked me to the floor, I get back up and I was like, okay, something ain't right. I went on and proceeded on with the meeting, and I just started feeling weak, like to the point where I was losing strength, all just that fast. Get to the hospital. And upon me getting to the hospital, they turn around and they say, okay, Mr. Thomas, I just want to let you know that we're going to run some tests. They run some tests. I'm like, oh, I already know they're going to stay still saying the same thing. But in the midst of me saying, me coming, growing up in the church, Lord, I trust you, and whatever it is, you know, not knowing that the people are going to tell me that, hey, Mr. Thomas, we found cancerous knot on your stomach that is the size of a golf ball. I was wondering why you don't have, my appetite was little. I'm thinking it's just from tired. I don't eat a lot anyway. So, you know, hey, it is what it is. So fast forward, they say, well, what we're going to have to do is we're going to take you through treatment. We'll get you through treatment. We're going to go and operate to try to remove it once we get it down to a place where it's not going to be harmful. Okay, fine. I done dealt with this before, had a small something. We'll go through surgery, keep moving. Go into surgery, thinking that it's going to be, they're saying 2 hours and something in operation. You'll be out, recover time. You'll be in here for 2 days, 3 days tops. You'll be home. You should be able to be up and about moving. No. I go in operation thinking I woke up from the operation in the 2 hour time frame. And I woke up, it was 3.5 weeks later. In the midst of in the operation, I had a massive stroke on the operating table. They had opened me up. So once air hit cancer, it spreads from one end of the body to the other. So when I'm waking up, I'm waking up to my mom on one side, my family here, the doctor standing there, and I can see the look on the face. I can't talk. I can't see anything because I had tubes in me. They had taken tubes out of me. He had already made his decision because he said, we've done all we can do.
Wow.
So they said they were going to send me home with hospice, send me to the Bethany house. My mom said, I looked at my mom with a faint voice or whatever, and I couldn't talk up until this point, but I had been praying. I just had a prayer down in my spirit, and I was just like, Lord, this can't be the end. I got too much to do. You told me, God, I got work to do for you, Lord. This can't be it, you know. So in the midst of this, my stress level is going up. I go into another stroke in the midst of all that. They lose me. And this is where the problems came in. So when they lost me that time, like Charles, I went over to the other side. I was kind of done. I was kind of tired because I was just like, okay, Lord, I'm tired now. I see what's going on and I'm trusting you, but Lord, I'm telling you, my faith is really becoming shaky right now. You know, I'm trying to keep this thing together, you know. And I remember telling my grandmother, Mom, I'll be deceiving you. And she was like, boy, quit talking that craziness, this, that, and other. And next thing I know, I saw the Lord. I saw God. And he came to me and he said to me, he said, okay, my child, I'm going to tell you something. He said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use you as a modern day Ezekiel. Wow. I'm going to use you as a mouthpiece and a vessel because there's going to come a time there where the generation and the people are going to forget about the hand of me, forget about my works, forget about the miracles, forget about the factor of me being the person who wake you up in the morning and allow you to be able to breathe air into you throughout the night to wake up. And I was like, okay, Lord, what are you telling me? I was, you know, he said, but if you don't do what I tell you to do, I will kill you instantly.
Man.
Wow.
He said, if you don't do what I do, I tell you, kill you instantly. And I remember in the moment, all I can remember in my head is saying, okay, Lord, I'll do whatever you say do. Whatever you say do, Lord, I'll do. I surrender my all to you. I surrender, Lord, I surrender. And God said, this is what I wanted from you from the beginning because I got to strip you of you.
Wow.
Oh my God, and Jesus.
That's amazing.
Oh
Wow. I know I hate to interrupt. I hate to interrupt. I know it's so because I've heard the whole story. I know it's beautiful. We're going to get like Twana because we're going to run out of time. Go ahead, Twana. You can share your point, your story, please.
I'm sorry. I was so involved in his testimony.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
A few years ago, I was blessed with the opportunity to come back from a stroke. I was at the gym working out, and I laid down in the middle of a workout, like I was on a beach, and everybody was saying, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." You all just disappeared.
Okay.
You said, oh, okay. I don't know what happened. And I laid down, and as the time continued to go on, one of the people came over and asked me, "Are you okay?" And my response was, "Yes, I'm fine." And she knew something was wrong because who lays down like they're on a beach at the gym? And that's what I was doing. So she asked me to get up, and when I got up and she began to lead me, she said something, and she realized that I was not seeing. So fast forward for 2 days. I'm sorry, fast forward a week. I was in intensive care, and I had lost the ability to see. For example, you all see my hand; I don't see it. You would think that I see it, but I don't. So I was lost vision half in each on each side of the right eye, and lost the ability to read, and the ability to short-term memory. So when you think about Dory the fish, that's me. 5, 6 minutes, I couldn't remember much of anything. So in that time frame, however, I God got my attention, and He spoke to me and said, I need you for the first time in your life to look at me and be in love and intimate with me, nothing and no one else, and not yourself. Look at me. And so I started going forward. And in the process, it has been, they say 7 is the number of completion. It has been, I'm going on 8 years since the stroke. Um, and I could always, even though people would look at me and they would think I was fine, it said to me more than anything, how many people out here do we look at and they look whole and they're so broken inside and hurt? And people would look at me and think, oh, you look so good. And it would anger me because I'm like, my butt can't see half of you. How does that look good? And God said to me, a number of my people are broken and wounded, and I need you to bring attention to that. So I have written a book called The Diary of a Stroked Up Sister Girl. And it is symbolic of the cross, or the cross is symbolic of many of us are on a horizontal plane, all into our flesh. And God wants us to be vertical, looking up at Him. And so many people are having or have had a stroke, not from the medical perspective, but it could be from a relationship. It could be from uh, a relationship with themselves, their children, their job, and it has caused them not to be able to function and move forward. And it's only when they look up at their creator that they're able to recognize what they need to be doing.
Beautiful. So beautiful. Bishop, can you take 2 minutes and kind of give your spin on what you've heard? Before we have one more break, right, Charles? Before you go, do we have another break? I think we have no more break. I didn't see it. But go ahead, Bishop. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Are you sorry, me?
Yes, sir.
One thing for sure, when you have a death experience, near-death experience, I have a little situation. Without going into detail, I have a little situation with my heart that I'm working through. And what it's done for me is every morning that I wake up, I'm like so happy that I woke up. It's like, oh wow, I got another day. And you nearly have to be at the edge before you appreciate it that much.
Yeah.
Because when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh my God, I woke up again. It's a miracle. You set yourself in the zone for the miraculous to take place. And you nearly have to, whether you think God did it or if it just happened, wherever you think the source of it, you have to become grateful for whatever happened. Because the worst thing that ever happened to you actually can be the best thing that ever happened to you. And it's like parallel realities. It's like in Acts chapter 2, Peter gets up and he preaches to the people on the day of Pentecost, and he is furious with them because he says, you killed an innocent man. Talking about Jesus, and in the next breath he said, and it happened exactly as God ordained. So something that's horrible is also wonderful. I'm hearing you guys go through these terrifying things, but it probably made you a better person, because really what happened is who you were kind of died, and you were, for lack of a better term, reincarnated as somebody else. You suddenly notice You don't take things for granted as much. You're aware. I noticed several of you said God got my attention. Wherever, if you think it was just a physical thing or a spiritual thing or whatever, the fact is you have to bless it and say, this thing that happened was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I honor it. And it's going to move me into a place where I can just live in the miraculous, because the very fact that I'm breathing is a miracle.
Yeah.
And that becomes ground zero. You know, like, I'm breathing, I shouldn't be alive according to medical knowledge, but here I am. So after a while, you stop looking for the miracles and you realize you are the miracle.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I want to say this: truth behind the truth, and a world full of cockeyed pessimists.
Yes.
Be a cockeyed optimist.
Wow.
Because let me tell you something: we could be dead and gone, but we are at least be grateful to be alive and to see another day and to live in your purpose.
Absolutely, so beautiful.
Yes. Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much. I know this is a discussion that we could continue on and get deeper into.
Yeah.
But hey, Bishop, thank you so much for being here tonight. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Great meeting all of you.
And we'll do this again. You know, I mean, we'll do this again, and we'll spend a little bit more time digging into it. And I hope that you, as the audience, hey guys, grab this tonight, review this, go over it again, listen to these testimonies, listen to this, how the miraculous can change your life every day. You know, truth behind it every day. And it's your faith that puts that miraculous into motion. All right, guys, have a beautiful night. Thank you so much for tuning into the Truth Behind It. We will see you next week. Bishop, again, thank you so much. Twana, love you. Hey, Darnell, love you. Or no, we know you love you. Charles, thank you for coming out of the show, the control room for a moment. All right, guys, have a beautiful night. Thank you for tuning into.
Thank you, guys.
The truth behind
the truth.
Good night, all.
Night.